Goodell issued a letter to all 32 teams regarding the controversy surrounding protests during the national anthem. In the memo, Goodell says, after talking with teams and players, a plan has been discussed that will be outlined at the league meeting in New York next week. In the memo, Goodell said the current dispute over the national anthem is threatening to erode the unifying power of our game and is now dividing us and our players from many fans across the country. Like many of our fans, we believe that everyone should stand for the national anthem. We want to honor our flag and our country, and our fans expect that of us. We also care deeply about our players and respect their opinions and concerns about critical social issues. The controversy over the anthem is a barrier to having honest conversations and making real progress on the underlying issues. We need to move past this controversy. Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins, who has raised a fist during national anthem, responded to Goodell's memo yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I think we've seen that even over the last year that you can take a player out of the league, you can threaten to do whatever you want to do. That's not going to deter players from doing what's right or doing what they believe is right. And so you might be able to change the manner in which that looks, but I don't see players stopping their pursuit for, justice or equality.
Shannon, how will this play out?
The NFL's in for a battle, Skip. I think you and I both believe that. And if I'm the players, I'm not giving in. And you know why I'm not giving in, Skip? Because if you give in on this, guess what? They're going to start demanding that all teams go to the White House. That's because once you start giving something, it's not how much someone will take, how much will you give? And you see, that's what we know about the NFL owners. See, the NFL owners and the players are in a very unique situation, Skip. The owners got to where they got by not backing down. The players got to where they got by not backing down. So you're on a collision course. This could have been handled so early. But like a lot of people thought, the NFL owners and the commissioner thought this was a fad. They thought this thing was going to go away. See, the NFL is reactionary. This is what we know about them. They are very, very reactionary. They thought this would go away. They also thought if we whiteball Colin Kaepernick, not let him back in the league, out of sight, out of mind. No. Skip, I find it very ironic. And I read this statement memo. I read it like 5 times. 424 words exactly. He mentioned flag once. He mentioned anthem 3 times. He mentioned country 5 times. How many times did he mention one issue in which Colin Kaepernick took a knee for? How many times did he mention the reason why Malcolm Jenkins and Michael Bennett? Why is Malcolm Bennett sitting? Why is Malcolm Jenkins still raising a fist? You see, the commissioner and the owners, we keep talking about these controversies, these underlying issues, but see, they don't want these actual issues tied to them. I can't say anything about police brutality. I can't say anything about social injustice. Because see, Skip, if I just read this, I'm like, okay, somebody's being very, very unpatriotic here. Why are they? I mean, I see flag, I see anthem, I see countries. So what's the problem? The problem is, Commissioner, is that while you talk about the flag and the country and patriotism, we want to hear you talk about the issue in which Colin Kaepernick led Colin Kaepernick to do what he did. We want to hear you say it. See, Skip, you can't go treat an addiction and say, okay, I'm here. Okay, what's your addiction? I'm here. You got to tell them what you're addicted to. Commissioner, we want to hear you say this police brutality. We want to hear you say this social injustice. We want to hear you say this inequality that's going on in America. Skip, you saw AP, the nurse that the police showed up in Utah and they tried to get the blood. It was a white nurse. Police officer was fired. He was fired for trying to get blood. They say she was assaulted. Do you kill a black man, woman, or child? You're not fired. You're put on paid and administrative leave. And if you so happen to be charged, you go to court and you get to walk home free. This is what we're talking about. Skip, there's something that you mentioned too a lot. It's called the Fritz Pollard
Alliance. Yep.
What does that do, Skip?
It oversees the Rooney Rule and tries to ensure equality in hiring in the National Football League, in hiring at the executive level and at the head coaching and assistant coaching level.
They had to put that into the league, the very league that Commissioner Goodell resides over. But so if you got to put that in there for them, what do you think is going on in a normal society, in normal everyday America? You see it, Commissioner, and see, Skip, although the owners and the NFL giving money would be commendable, I don't even want their money, because you can throw $2 million at a problem and hope it goes away. I want your influence. I want, when you try to get these stadiums built and you put pressure on these legislators, that's what I want you to do. When you want to get the Super Bowl to come to your city and you put pressure on people, that's what we want you to do. We want you to put pressure on the people that's in position, the lawmakers, the policymakers that enact how police officers interact with people of color in their communities. We want people held accountable. We don't want them to get paid leave when they're under investigation. I mean, if Fox were to suspend me, I'm not getting paid. Why should a police officer get paid when he's under investigation? We want accountability. We want it fair. We want it equal. So, Commissioner Goodell, if you were serious, if you were really, really serious about wanting to help the players solve these issues that's in their community, you would have mentioned it at least once. At least one issue. You could have put it in one of these 421 words, but you worded it very carefully. You made sure the people that the most important thing to you, flag, country, and anthem. I mean, this is what I'm starting to see, Skip. It's no coincidence. You see the NFL logo is red, white, and blue. But I've noticed over the last 13, 14 months, they've added another color to the flag. It's red, white, blue, and green. Because that's the bottom line.
Always has.
That's the bottom
Always
line.
will be.
And see, what's happening is these fans that says, I'm not going to watch, ratings dip, I'm not going to buy. So now this is the product. But if I'm the players, I'm not giving this up. Because if I give this up, you're going to start demanding more. Oh, you got to go to the White House. Oh, you got to do this. No. Use some of that influence that you use to get the things done that you want to get done, like these fancy new stadiums, like the Super Bowl, like the NFL draft. We want you to use some of that influence to help solve these issues. And the policymakers, see, Dr. King couldn't solve any problem, but he agitated enough of the people that could.
He did.
And that's what these Malcolm Jenkins and Michael Bennett trying to do. They're trying to agitate enough of these owners. They say, okay, take your butt to Capitol Hill. Call President Trump. You got his number. He called you. Call him.
Now you got to the crux of the problem. You want the NFL owners to start to put pressure on the lawmakers, but the man sitting in the most prominent seat in the world, certainly at the top of our country, President Trump, is exerting pressure backward onto the owners to shut these players down. Shut them up. Fire them. Right? If they protest. So, because you mentioned the Fritz Pollard Alliance, I'm going to bring up my friend John Wooten one more time. And I know a lot of our viewers don't know John Wooten, but he blocked for Jim Brown. I think the greatest running back ever historically for the Cleveland Browns. And John Wooten, I've known for 35, maybe almost 40 years, is a very proud black man who has worked closely with commissioners of the league to try to get minority hires. And he's been, I think, very successful in that.
Correct.
And I talked to him yesterday, and he made one interesting statement to me. He said, if I were talking to any of today's players, I would tell them to sit back and think before they act about what will I be able to tell my children, or more important, my grandchildren, about how I reacted to President Trump and this controversy now, because you are going to make your legacy that you're going to have to live with the rest of your life.
Right.
So I slept on that, and I thought about it. And as you well know, I'm a lifelong fan of the Dallas Cowboys, whose owner has, boy, did he call out his players. Did he back them into the deepest corner you could back them into?
He did.
You will not kneel for the anthem, or you will not play.
Yes.
Whew, strong. He has challenged the hearts and the souls and the minds of these of his best players. So I start thinking, if I'm Des Bryant, if I'm Dak Prescott, if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, if I'm Tyron Smith, for that matter, if I'm Jason Witten or Sean Lee, what if they all get together, that core group of stars, and they say, you know what? We have to take a stand by not taking a stand. We have to kneel. So, again, this is going to be back where it all started in San Francisco. Not this Sunday because they're off, but a week from Sunday, they're going to be back where it all started with one Colin Kaepernick.
Correct.
Who risked and sacrificed his job to make a national statement about police brutality, and it worked. I'm going to say it again. Just from my perspective, it had national impact.
We're talking about it 14 months later.
We're still talking about it. But to me, especially the black players on the Cowboys, if they believe strongly enough in their heritage, their culture, their mission, their lot in life in this country, then you know what? They should do what Malcolm Jenkins said. They should do what's right, and they should kneel in San Francisco. And I'm saying that as a Cowboy fan because it's going to threaten your ability to win that football game.
Correct.
Because you're going to put that owner in an extremely all-time awkward position sitting up in his owner's box.
He's talking about an individual player. You and I both know if 5 or 6, 7 of the starters were to take a knee, or 20 of, let's just say 25 of the black players take a knee, is he going to forfeit the game? No, he's not. So
I don't think so, but Jerry's pretty strong-willed himself.
Well, let's see.
Okay, let's see.
I do not believe Jerry Jones is forfeiting those games. Now, what he's trying to do, he's like, you will stand, and if you don't stand, you're going to take a knee. Because what we've seen pockets of that. We haven't seen anything like San Francisco where 20 guys are kneeling, or we haven't seen anything like Seattle. Now, if Paul Allen were to say you will do this, I think this is the one team that would absolutely buck. And Richard Sherman and Bennett and all those guys would take a knee. So I do not believe, I don't take Jerry at his word. I believe if one guy were to do it, yeah, he would sit him out.
Okay, well, let's do the hypothetical. I'm going to put you and Jerry on the hottest seat.
Okay.
What if Dak and Zeke decide, let's throw Dez in there. Dez, Dak, and Zeke decide before the game, the three of us have to kneel together, arms locked. What do you think happens?
Skip, you're speaking
it's a decree now. He has decreed multiple times publicly, has Jerry Jones, you will not play.
Although I would like to see this happen, I don't know if you could have picked 3 worse guys for this cause. Zeke is already up against it. He's in no situation.
I got it.
And Dez Bryant, we already know what Dez thinks of Jerry. So we already know.
You mean that he loves him?
He loves him.
Like a father.
He already knows. So we already know he's company. And Zeke,
Dak is the face of the franchise and always says and does the right thing. But I'm going to an extreme example here.
Yes.
If that happens, and by the way, I want you to understand, me, because I slept on this and thought hard about it.
Yes.
My heart would be with all 3 if they decided to do that.
I need 20.
I'd be good.
I want to see, because see, he might even sit them to try to prove a point. I need 25 or 30 of them. I need, because there are only 46 active for the day. So I need 25 or 30 of them, because I want to see what he really going to do. That's what I want to see. But here's the thing now. You notice they did not because this has been going on. They started kneeling and raising their fists and taking a seat last year. And no owner had instituted policy about this. The policy didn't come until President Trump said what he said about 2 weeks ago. Skip, my grandmother used to always say, boy, when you make a deal with the devil, you never know when he's going to come for your soul. At some point in time, he's going to come for you, owners. Right now, he's coming for the players. And that serves you very well because the public, a lot of the public is on your side with this flag, this anthem, and this country. But some point, you got to pay off this debt. You making this deal with the devil, he's coming back. Are you going to be ready for when he comes back and what he asks?
Okay, I got it. I don't want to put too much onus and pressure and responsibility on the players, but they have been called out now by the president and by Jerry Jones as the lead owner. And I think he's trying to set the tone for all 30 other owners, right?
Do I believe that every owner wanted to lock the players out in 2011? I do not. But guess what they did? They banded together. And it says, okay, one for one and one for all. This is for the betterment of us. This wasn't no betterment of the league because that's why they signed the contract extension in 2000, I think it was 2007, 2008. But they prorated it until they got a bigger share of the revenue. You see what they did, Skip? Now, they negotiated a contract, but we want you to go in effect 5 years later so we get a bigger slice of the pie. I saw what they did. Skip, if I'm the players, I'm not conceding on this.
Okay, so again, I'm going to keep it with the Cowboys just for now. Back to John Wooten's point. So every Dallas Cowboy right now has to think about, what will I tell my kids when they ask, how did you guys react to this back in 2017?
Mm-hmm.
Your grandkids, how did you react way back when your owner said, you will not play? Well, we decided to stand.
Right.
Okay, that's fine, because you have to take into consideration the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
You're all part of what I call the golden goose, right?
Yes.
It's the greatest league in this country, and it benefits everybody who's a part of it, including the football players.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. It puts you on the map.
Yes.
Puts you in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It made you a good bit of money.
It gave me a life I would have never enjoyed
Correct.
had I not played it.
Okay.
I was able
Thank
to put my kids through school. I was able to take care of my grandmother, and my sister, and my mom.
So everybody now has to think, have we done enough? If we continue to kneel, will it help our cause that much more, to the point that we do want to threaten the quote-unquote golden goose? Do we want to threaten our ability as football teams to win football games? Because it can be, as you know, it can fracture a football team.
Yes.
We've seen it happen to
Yes.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it could fracture the Cowboys. If they're really split on this, and they have internal clashing over this all the way up to kickoff at San Francisco, could they lose that game because they're split? Sure, they could.
Sure.
Okay. So do you want to risk that, or do you want to take, like, I still can't believe nobody talks about the NBA. Their commissioner stood up the first day and said, we will all stand. Period. End of story. First preseason game was played by the defending champ Golden State Warriors. After the game, they're all asked, are you okay with what the commissioner said? Yeah, we're good. You are, really. So as a collective group, they have all decided, Colin did what he did, lost his job over it. It had national impact. That's enough of that. We're going to find other ways
Yes.
to make our cases,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So they're saying that's enough of that. Should the NFL players say that's enough of that? Because I'm with you when you say you can't back down.
Right.
But can you back off and find a different avenue?
Well, maybe they're going to have to, Skip. Maybe we're going to have to look at it or say, you know what we do? How about this? Maybe we go find a couple of guys that spent 30, 40 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. Maybe we find somebody that was arrested, that was put in jail for a petty crime, and because he didn't have $200 to post bail, he didn't get out. Maybe we bring those guys and we have them come tell their story. Maybe if we have the women to come forward and tell their story, how they were equally or more so qualified than a male counterpart, and they didn't get the job, and they know they didn't get the job because they were a female. Maybe we're going to have to start putting faces. And I know Laquan McDonald, the guy that got shot 17 times, and Tamir Rice, and Alton Sterling, and Philando Castile, and Eric Gardner. I know there are a lot, Walter Scott, there are a lot of them. But those guys can't speak. Maybe we need to get some people. The young man that was in South Carolina, the officer asked him, could he get his license and proof of insurance, and he gets to go in his back pocket, and he shoots him 2 or 3 times. Maybe we need to have some people. Maybe we put names that can actually talk.
I like that.
So
that resonates.
Yes, but I still want the owner's influence, because here's the thing, and I've said this before. Dr. King sacrificed so much, but he reaped the least of the benefits because his life was cut out. And a lot of times, the people that sacrifice the most get the least in return. So you got to be willing to give up something. Cap probably gave up his NFL career for something that he believed in. And you talk about a fractured team, but right now we have a fractured country. And I'm a firm believer. You do not have to serve the military. You do not have to lose your life or be a first responder police officer to be considered a patriot. If you want to make this country better than what it is, because remember, President Trump got off and came to power because he said what? He wanted to make America great again. So if you want to make it great again, you're saying at the time currently, it is not great. So if you are about change and you want to make America what the flag, the symbol supposedly represent in this anthem, and what America is, if you want to make it better, you should be deemed a patriot. And that's what these players, Colin Kaepernick and so many others before Cap, were trying to do. And they're not unpatriotic, because when you try to make something better, when you try to make the country that you live in a better place, that is the most patriotic thing that you can do.
I got it. from this chair, I'm starting to lose perspective on, are the black players still protesting police brutality, racial inequality, or are they just protesting what the president did to them? Because I told you this first day, he effectively declared war on the players.
Yes.
And he didn't just double down, he's tripled, quadrupled down.
Right.
It's a daily Twitter assault on the players.
It's become one and the same now.
Yeah. And obviously, I think it's a shrewd play on his part.
Absolutely.
Because it will help rebuild some of his popularity with his constituents.
And that's what
I'm fighting for the flag.
And I told you, Skip, remember I said you got to be careful. I said he's trying to play the shell game.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the shell that you really need to see is right here.
Okay.
But he's moving these other two shells all around to get you talking about, oh, we fighting against President Trump. He's a part of the problem, but the main issue came to power.
Constituents.
And that's what
I'm fighting for the flag.
And I told you, Skip, remember I said you got to be careful. I said he's trying to play the shell game.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the shell that you really need to see is right here.
Okay.
But he's moving these other two shells all around to get you talking about, oh, we fighting against President Trump. He's a part of the problem, but the main issue came to power.
Starting to lose perspective on, are the black players still protesting police brutality, racial inequality, or are they just protesting what the president did to them? Because I told you this first day, he effectively declared war on the players.
Yes.
And he didn't just double down, he's tripled, quadrupled down.
Right.
It's a daily Twitter assault on the players.
It's become one and the same now.
Yeah. And obviously, I think it's a shrewd play on his part.
Absolutely.
Because it will help rebuild some of his popularity with his constituents.
And that's what
I'm fighting for the flag.
And I told you, Skip, remember I said you got to be careful. I said he's trying to play the shell game.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the shell that you really need to see is right here.
Okay.
But he's moving these other two shells all around to get you talking about, oh, we fighting against President Trump. He's a part of the problem, but the main issue came to power.
Protesting what the president did to them, because I told you this first day, he effectively declared war on the players.
Yes.
And he didn't just double down, he's tripled, quadrupled down.
Right.
It's a daily Twitter assault on the players.
It's become one and the same now.
Yeah. And obviously, I think it's a shrewd play on his part.
Absolutely.
Because it will help rebuild some of his popularity with his constituents.
And that's what
I'm fighting for the flag.
And I told you, Skip, remember I said you got to be careful. I said he's trying to play the shell game.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the shell that you really need to see is right here.
Okay.
But he's moving these other two shells all around to get you talking about, oh, we fighting against President Trump. He's a part of the problem, but the main issue